Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark from the Mad Movie Mark Movie Review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1937 romance melodrama Stella Dallas.
Mind your own business.
Hey, that's not fair. That's not very nice either. I'm just here trying to review every movie in this book, the 1001 movies you must see before you die. And this movie is great, so I don't think you're going to want me to mind my own business on this one. Now, this film stars my favorite actress of all time, Barbara Stanwyck, and John Bowles as Stephen, Alan Hale Sr. as Ed Munn. Now, if you're watching this movie and you're thinking, wow, Ed Munn looks a lot like that skipper from Gilligan's Island, that's because it's his father, and yes, they look exactly like each other. The resemblance is just uncanny. Now, this movie was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, Best Actress in a Leading Role for Barbara Stanwyck, and Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Anne Shirley, who played her grown-up daughter, Laurel. Both of these nominations were incredibly deserved. I haven't seen, so the winner this year for Best Actress in a Lead Role was Louise Rayner. I've never seen the movie she was in. I have seen Camille from Greta Garbo, who was also nominated, and I think Barbara Stanwyck was better than Greta Garbo, so I will say that thus far, I believe that Barbara Stanwyck should have won for this role. Now, unfortunately, she never won an acting Oscar. She was nominated for this, Ball of Fire, Double Indemnity, and Sorry, Wrong Number, and lost all of them, and I honestly don't know how she wasn't nominated for Lady Eve, but she did win an honorary Oscar, but I still believe that she was robbed. Now, in this film, it's one of the defining examples of Hollywood's women's pictures. It's a melodrama centered around women's emotional lives, family struggles, and social expectations. It's one of Barbara Stanwyck's most famous performances. The final scene where Stella watches her daughter's wedding from outside in the rain became one of the most famous emotional innings in classic Hollywood history. The director King Vidor used subtle visual storytelling to emphasize class differences and emotional sacrifice, and the movie expertly deals with class mobility and social aspiration, showing Stella's working class background affects her daughter's chances in upper class society. Now, I love this movie. I think it's one of the best movies I have seen from the 1930s, and I've seen a lot of great movies from the 1930s. I think it's 2 reasons why I love this movie so much. One of which is that I was very close with my mother, who passed away about 6 years ago, very quickly, very unexpectedly. And also I have 2 daughters, and watching this movie and hoping that my daughters aren't kind of like embarrassed by who I am, that I don't embarrass them, and that I give them the kind of life that they want, the kind of life that they need, is emotional. It's something that goes through your mind all the time. It's something, and I'm a stay-at-home dad, so constantly I'm in my own thoughts about, am I giving my child what I need? Am I providing them with what they need? Am I supportive enough? Am I nice enough? Am I stern enough when I have to be? There's just a lot of these emotions that go through your mind. And when you watch this kind of movie, I honestly was in tears. I cried through almost the entire film. I'm not afraid to say that. It's just something that happened. And this was an incredibly emotional movie. Most of the time when a movie makes me cry and when it's incredibly emotional, I give it a higher score, because it's very hard, I think, for movies to have that effect on you, to tug at your heartstrings like that. To be as successful as this movie was is a feat, and I think that is absolutely amazing. So when this movie opens up, we're introduced to Stella. Her last name is not Dallas at this point. I don't remember what her maiden name was, but her first name is Stella. She lives with her parents and her brother. They live kind of lower class society. It seems like they're extremely poor, but she has aspirations of being rich, of having luxuries and having this great life that she wasn't given when she was younger. So she sees this really rich gentleman walking by every now and then. He is her brother's boss, it would seem like, or the owner of the company. I'm not sure how he fits in, but he is very rich, and he is the boss of her brother. So she goes down to her brother's work, and as a ruse, she says she's going to drop off lunch for him, but she really just wants to meet this gentleman who is Stella Dallas, and she wants to talk to him and she wants to get to know him. Now, he, in his own right, is in a very weird position where he is rich, but he's also very lonely. He doesn't have anyone in his life. He wants companionship. He wants to find love. So she kind of walks in at the right time, and they eventually get married with each other, and they have a child. But after they have the child, the marriage is really rocky. A lot of this is because of her friend Edmund, Edmund is someone that she met at a social gathering earlier in the movie. Stephen did not like this guy. He was a little bit jealous, it seemed like, but he did not think that he was a very good person. Edmund is someone who is a terrible alcoholic. Now, one thing that this movie does that a lot of movies did not do, at least a lot of the movies I see from the 1930s, they use alcoholism as the funny character, as the character who is supposed to be laughed at, who is just hilarious because he's drunk all the time. This takes a more serious approach to alcoholism, which I thought was great. It shows how it makes Edmund's life kind of go on a downward trajectory by the end of the film, how it basically ruins him. And at the beginning, he's really happy, he's enjoying life, but then by the end, he's become such a bad alcoholic that he's basically like alone and almost homeless. He lives in an apartment by himself, but he's really ragged and he's really hard off. But this is someone who comes around to their house all the time. He's smoking, he's drinking. One day, Stephen walks in the house and he sees a lit cigar, and he sees that Stella Dallas is drunk and she's been around the baby, and he just basically puts his foot down and says, I can't live like this anymore. I think that we should break up. I think that I should take our daughter Laurel, and I think that we should leave. Now, she grabs Laurel and she basically says, no one's going to take my baby. And we fast forward a little bit into the future, and she has full custody, it seems like, or at least partial, most custody of Laurel, even though Stephen has reservations about this. He kind of moves on with his life. At this point, Stella is someone who craves money. She craves attention. She really wants all those things that she never had in life, and she's really pursuing them to the detriment of her child, I would say, because she is not always the best mother. And when she does try to take care of her child, it's always she's trying to buy her furs. Her dad will send her books, and she says, well, we can get books at the library. Why would he send me books? Why doesn't he send her foxes and furs and all this stuff? So she thinks that because she grew up without a lot of money and without a lot of tangible, like physical things, that is what a kid needs to be happy. They need a lot of things to make them look rich. They need a lot of items. They need personal possessions. And that's what she's trying to provide her child, instead of the love and affection that the child actually needs. At least that is how I read into this at first, is that she's trying to get her all the monetary things that she never had when she was a kid. And she thinks that she's doing the right thing. She thinks that this is the pursuit. At the same time, she's pursuing this for herself too. So she's also trying to have fun and get all these things that she never had as a child. Now, eventually Laurel grows up and she becomes this teenager. She falls in love with a guy. She also, Stephen falls in love with a woman who has, I think, 3 children of her own. It's like 2 boys and 1 girl or something like that, or 2 girls and 1 boy. I don't remember. But he ends up moving in with this other woman, and Laurel will go to visit them, and they are just very caring. They have other kids. It's a great family dynamic. They love each other. They're the kind of family that'll sing songs in a car or whatever. I mean, they obviously didn't do that back then, but they're just a very loving, very stable, very tight family dynamic that doesn't really care about monetary things, that doesn't care about personal possessions. They care about being a loving family to each other, and it's a much different environment than what she's in. She doesn't have Edmund there smoking cigarettes and drinking. She doesn't have her mother there getting drunk all the time. So she actually really loves being there, visiting. Like, she loves to go there and visit. Now, Stella will figure this out, and she'll eventually realize that she gets jealous at first. Stephen asks for a divorce and she won't do it, but she said she's going to ask for more money so that she can buy Laurel this great house and all these furs and all these everything that Laurel wants. But it seems like eventually she just buys herself a bunch of great clothes that she thinks are really high society clothes. And she goes out to try to find Laurel to talk to her, and her friends are there, and her friends make fun of Stella because of these clothes that she's wearing, and she looks absolutely ridiculous, and she doesn't, these are very down to earth. They're rich, but they're very down to earth people. They don't dress like this. They don't get dolled up like this. They don't dress in these crazy fancy clothes. And I don't even know if these clothes that Stella is dressing in are even considered to be the trend at that time. It's almost like she's dressing in high society clothes from like 20 years ago, and these kids don't understand really what she's wearing. So she gets very embarrassed, and she decides that the kids are making fun of Laurel. Laurel's having a really hard time around the neighborhood because the kids are making fun of her and who her mom is. Her mom comes off as this alcoholic and this drunk. She's seen with Edmund. The mother started whispering that she's having some sort of affair with this Edmund guy, and she's really looked down upon, is Stella Dallas, in the town, and everyone knows that she came from this very humble beginnings also, and it's very tough for her. She's not able to assimilate into society like she thought she would by marrying rich. So she decides that she's going to kind of give up Stella to Stephen and the new family that she's with, so that she can have a respectable family and a respectable father and mother and child to live with. Now, at first, Laurel pushes back on this because she says that she wants to be with her mom because her mom needs help. Her mom is in a very hard position. Her mom won't survive without her. Her mom can't get along with her. And her other family, her dad and her dad's new wife and all these people, they don't need her. Like, they are fine the way they are, but her mom needs her. So she tries to stay with her mom, even though her mom is really pushing to have her stay with the other family. And then her mom ends up inviting Edmund over, and that's kind of like the final straw. Then Laurel realizes that there's no help for her and that it's not going to go the fantasy way that's in her mind type of thing. So then Laurel ends up getting married. There's this really famous scene at the end of the movie, like I said earlier, where Stella is outside in the rain watching the wedding through a fence. Very touching, very emotional. The whole sacrifice that she does. By the end of the movie, when she realizes that all the stuff she's done is not really what Laurel wanted. It's what Stella wanted. It's not really what Laurel needed. It's what Stella in her mind thought that Laurel needed, but it's actually not what she needed. What she needed was a mom who wasn't drunk, who wasn't smoking, who didn't have all these men over all the time, who didn't have Edmund over all the time. There was a lot of stuff that Laurel needed that wasn't provided. And I think at the end of the movie, maybe she's starting to realize a lot of the stuff that she needed to give to Laurel, she wasn't able to. But she loves Laurel with all of her heart. This is her daughter, and she wants what's best for her. And once she makes that realization, and she really decides to do this, and she pushes for it, and she puts all of herself into it. You think at one point she's going to change her mind when Laurel says, "I don't want you to give me up. I want to stay with you." You think that this is her in. This is her chance where she can say, "Okay, I want to stay with you," but she doesn't. She just keeps going with this idea that it's better if Laurel goes with the other family. It's really heartbreaking. It just shatters you completely, because this is a mom and a daughter who really love each other so much. They have nothing but unconditional love for each other and admiration and compassion. These are the two people. They lived with each other their whole lives. They grew up with each other. They were there for each other constantly. Yes, Stella, she had her faults, but I mean, she was the parental figure throughout Laurel's entire life, and you could tell that the breaking apart really crushed and destroyed both of them completely. But Stella knew that it was the right thing to do, and it's just so shattering. It's like you rip out your heart and you throw it on the floor and you just stomp on it a couple times. It's so moving. It's so emotional. Barbara Stanwyck is so amazing in this movie. If you watch this film, you watch Ball of Fire, you watch Double Indemnity, and you watch The Lady Eve, and to me, I'm like, are these the same four actresses in this film, in these films? Because her range is just ridiculous. She is such a phenomenal actress. Her and Katharine Hepburn are my two favorite actresses. I go back and forth a lot between who's my actual favorite, but she has such range, such emotion, such depth. Also, Anne Shirley is just phenomenal in this movie. John Bowles too, as the father, as Stephen. Man, the fact that they were able to get these three amazing people together and put them in the same emotionally driven, tear-jerking film is phenomenal. I cannot rave enough about this movie. It is an emotional roller coaster. It'll tear out your heart. Like I said, being a father of two daughters, trying to understand what Stella is going through and also what Stephen is going through as well. And then also having my mother pass away very suddenly before my daughters were even born, before I was married. My mother never saw me get married. She passed away, I think 3 years before I got married. I had just met my girlfriend when my mom passed away. So seeing that scene at the end of the movie where the mom is looking through the fence, through the gate to watch her daughter get married, that's also so emotional because my mom wasn't there. She couldn't be there because she passed away. And I know my mom would have wanted to be there. I had a great relationship with her. She would have loved to see her grandchildren. She would have had the greatest time with her grandchildren. She would be here every day playing with them, watching them. And it's just so heartbreaking that she's not here and that she wasn't there for my wedding. And so this kind of a movie really wrecks me. I was completely, utterly destroyed and wrecked by the end of it, and it might go in my top 10 of all time now. This was actually the first time I had seen this movie. As much as the Barbara Stanwyck fan I am, I had never seen this movie before, which means I still have a lot of work to do. Even though I love her so much, I still have a lot of work to do with her greatest film she's ever made. But this movie just absolutely wrecked and destroyed me, and I thought it was a masterpiece. It's a 10 out of 10. It's right now, it's in my, like, out of all the movies I've reviewed, I have them all ranked because I want to do a full ranking at the end of all 1,001 movies. This is, I think, is in the top 15 right now of everything that I've reviewed. It's that good. It's that emotional. It's that moving to me. I loved it. 10 out of 10. Great movie. Nothing, not a lot more to say. I just thought it was fantastic. I don't remember what my next movie is. My next movie, though, I don't remember what it is, what it's called, but it's the first Chinese horror film ever made, and it is basically a rough remake of The Phantom of the Opera. So we will see how that goes. Thank you. Have a great day.